Before you say anything, yes, it's late, and I do look like Dracula because of my skin tone and, unfortunately, the lighting, but I'm going to do this anyway because this is a really interesting video to make. So yesterday, I put out this video about Framber Valdez and how he's probably going to have thrown away over $100 million because of his actions where he crossed up his catcher intentionally. Well, this just happened. I will say, before we get into breaking down the contract, I do feel partially vindicated. I think he was on track for a 5 to 6 year contract if it wasn't for those actions. Ended up being a semi-prove-it deal, 3 years, $115 million, highest ever for a left-handed pitcher, highest ever for a Latin American pitcher as well. So I feel somewhat vindicated, although I have to say this is more than I thought he would get. Now, onto the deal itself. As Jeff Passan tweeted out, Framber was the best available free agent still left on the market, and Detroit was never really seen as a huge player for him. So to see them hop out of the blue, and you can see my outfits here that I'm a Detroit fan, it was really unexpected. Let's get into this contract specifically. As I said in my video yesterday on Framber, he's been one of the most consistent players in the game over the last 4 seasons, arguably 5, but he only made 22 starts in 2021, never posting an ERA outside the mid-3s, and consistently, and I do mean consistently, throwing innings year after year. On the surface, you might look at his Savant page and not be all that excited. He has a decent amount of blue in here and some really dark blue in the average exit velo, extension, hard hit, numbers like that, but this number is the single biggest one that's relevant with Framber, the ground ball rate. This dude, for his entire career, is running a ground ball rate north of 62%. That's insane. He also limits the most damaging type of contact in all of Major League Baseball, amongst the best in the league, which is pulled balls in the air. In the past, he's had really good metric breaking ball numbers. Last year, he wasn't as good, but his curveball is one of the nastiest breaking balls in the sport. I do think he's going to be able to bounce back with that pitch, and I do expect pretty concretely, at least over the next 2 seasons, for him to have an ERA anywhere from 3.2 to 3.7. What does this mean for the Tigers? Well, before I actually acknowledge the cost of the contract, it means that he's probably going to slot in as the number 2 right behind Skubal, and this gives them a lot of options in the rotation, potentially moving somebody like a Drew Anderson into a either long relief role, or maybe they'll even start with a modified 6-man rotation because Reese Olson dealt with some injury issues last season, and Casey Mize is not known for going deep into games. As for the actual value of the contract, now, he's making about $38 million a season. Per the current WAR calculation for how much every WAR is worth, it's about $9 to $10 million. As you can see, over the last 4 years, he's pretty much been worth about $35 to $40 million per season. So you can't say this is an above market value contract on average for him. On top of that, he also has an opt-out after his 2nd season, so if he does really well, he might bet on himself once again and try to hit the open market. But I don't think it's a bad move for Detroit. I think that this insulates them against Tarik Skubal. Maybe it means they're willing to potentially spend on Skubal. I don't know if they're going to be willing to have 2 pitchers making so much money at the top of the rotation, but it is encouraging to see them actually spend a little bit of money. In terms of the grade for this contract, I would probably give it a B-. He objectively is going to be a good ad for them. You don't have the same injury concerns that you have with some of the other guys that were on the open market at the beginning of the offseason. There's not a lot of upside, but there's also almost no downside because he has one of the highest floors of any pitcher in Major League Baseball, and it's a relatively short contract in terms of the overall length of it. Still a very solid move for Detroit, and I'm excited for the year to get started for the Motor City Kitties. You guys be sure to let me know what you think of the move in the comments below. Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.